Welcome to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Uh, Probably mostly gentlemen. It's Planet P coming back to Earth with a video for you today. Today, I just wanted to go over the Bengals' upcoming free agency salary cap situation. Kind of go over a few things that I think they should, and most likely would do, especially given how much money they have, given the free agents, giving the players that they're looking to let walk, looking at the players they're looking to retain. As you can see right now on the screen, Bengals have approximately $60 million in cap space to work with this offseason. That actually ranks sixth highest amongst all NFL teams. We scroll down here for 2024. You look at they have 48 players under contract. And I'm using the website over the cap, by the way. But they have 48 players currently under contract. And if I was sitting in Duke Tobin's seat, and I'm not going to get too crazy, I want to keep it as realistic as possible. But if I was Duke Tobin and I knew, given the free agent, so we'll visit this first and then revisit what I was about to say. So Tyler Boyd, Jonah Williams, Chidobe Awuzie, T. Higgins, DJ Reader, those are the top guys. Then we move down to Max Sharping, Cody Ford, Drew Sample, Irv Smith, Josh Tupou, ADG, Trent Irwin, Mitchell Wilcox, Tanner Hudson, Jake Browning, Marcus Bailey, Travion Williams, Cal Adamitis, Joe Bacci, and AJ McCarron. Before I even get to the free agents, I want to look at the current roster and see if there's anybody that I would possibly, well, not even possibly, but it's anybody that I would cut. And the first person that I would look at in this scenario is, unfortunately, Mr. Nick Scott. I'm not sure what the pre-6-1, that's June the 1st. I'm not sure what that condition stipulates, but I can revisit that in another video. But the reason that I would cut Nick Scott is because he was brought in to essentially be the starter. He was the starting safety on day one, and he ended up losing his job to Jordan Battle. Now, I would assume that the Bengals would move forward with Dax Hill and Jordan Battle as the starting safeties. So to me, it doesn't make sense to pay a guy essentially who's going to be a special teamer, that starting caliber of money. It'd be different if Nick Scott was a true center fielder, because if you're looking at our secondary, what we need most out of our safeties is a true center fielder. Like Dax Hill, he's kind of almost like a utility player. He can do a bunch of different things, but as far as just a true safety, I believe that that's what this team needs more than anything to help solidify that secondary. And unfortunately, you're gonna Dax Hill is a first round investment. Jordan Battle, he came on at the end of last year, and Nick Scott, unfortunately, is just the odd man out in this equation. So he'll be the first guy that I got rid of, and as you can see, that clears up $2 million in cap space. And if you look at this column right here, you got dead money over cap savings. So you would save 2.3 million in a cap, but you already got 2 million that you will have to pay to Nick Scott either way. But that's I guess I don't even want to say a sacrifice he's willing to make, but just to free up that cap space, free up a roster spot. Moving down, next guy I would consider getting rid of, maybe Travis Bell, but depending on what position they brought him in to play, I believe he may be playing like the nose guard, nose tackle. As of right now, he's the only nose tackle on the roster. So it makes it, I don't want to say difficult to cut him, but it makes it really not feasible to do so. So I would consider maybe getting rid of him, but just given the current roster composition, you can't really afford to do that. But one guy I think the Bengals might look at getting rid of is Jeffrey Gunter. He's coming into his third season after being drafted in 2021, I believe. I think he was a seventh rounder. He had a good preseason in 2021, his first year, but really haven't seen much from him since then. And the Bengals quite possibly will end up drafting another edge player or at least another defensive lineman. And if you look at the current rotation, you will have Miles Murphy, Trey Hendrickson, obviously, Sam Hubbard, obviously, and then Cam Sample. But Jeffrey Gunter, I don't think he's giving you enough to stay on the contract. And then, they could re-sign him during free agency, but just freeing up some of this money now so you can look at seeing what you could do with a T. Higgins or seeing what you could do with a DJ Reader, seeing what you could do with other free agents, maybe free agents from other teams around the league. But I would look at cutting those two guys, and I believe those will be the only two moves that I'll make. Now we go back up to the salary cap. That just got us to about approximately 63 million if you round up. If you go look at it like a decimal, 62.6 million, so approximately 63 million. And the first person I would look at re-signing would be T. Higgins. Now, if you were to sign him to the franchise tag, according to over the cap's estimation, it would cost approximately, or not even approximately, it would cost $21.6 million. And if we were to click this, you would see what that does to the salary cap, brings it down about $20 million. And it doesn't have anything naturally since the salary cap only applies to 1 year. T. Higgins won't be under contract on the 2025. But what I would do, and what I think the Bengals might actually try to get done, I don't foresee a situation where it's a tag and trade. Duke Tobin already said last year, I believe it was sometime during the draft, he told the other teams to essentially find their own T. Higgins. So you know that they value T. Higgins, and the Bengals actually have a tendency to overvalue their players at times. But I would try to bring T. Higgins back. I think he's the biggest priority out of everybody on this list for the sole purpose of he's entering his prime. Awuzie is kind of on the tail end of his prime. Jonah Williams may be in his prime, but we probably can't afford to bring him back at what he's asking for. DJ Reader, see, nose tackles, they kind of have a long prime, but still, with him coming off of an injury, that may affect his price tag and that may affect his negotiations. I actually expect him to do so. But T. Higgins. Oops. Sorry about that. If we click select and click extend, according to, let me find the website so I can accurately give this guy credit. It's a guy on Twitter, Andre Peralta. He has T. Higgins' contract projection listed at, let's see, 4 years, $95 million with a $25 million signing bonus, $40 million fully guaranteed at signing, and $57.5 million total, or $57.5 million in total guarantees. Sorry about that. So if you scroll down here, seeing as he's not under contract, 2024 would be the first year of his contract. Signing bonus, $25 million. That gets prorated over lifetime of the contract, $6.25 million each year. Prorated bonuses. So these are things like roster bonus, option bonus, things, workout bonus, things like that. Nothing for the first year, but for the second year, a total of $4 million. For the third year, a total of $11.5 million. Now this is on the high end. And then for the final year, a total of $6.5 million. He has base salary listed at $5 million first year, and it goes up by $5 million each year. So we got $5 million, $10 million, $15 million, and then $20 million. Now just to check, see what he got on here. 6.5, 6.25, 20 million, 20 million. I miscalculated something because the last year the cap hit should be 32.75 million. Oh, here's the problem. Okay, 6.5 million. There we go. So that's what his contract would look like if he were signed to a 4-year, $95 million deal. You got the $25 million signing bonus, 40 million guaranteed. So we could say maybe 10 million each year is guaranteed. Or actually 40 million fully guaranteed at signing. So as opposed to that, we would do this. 40 million fully guaranteed at signing. So this is what T. Higgins' contract would look like if he were to be signed at 4 years, $95 million, $25 million signing bonus, $40 million guaranteed at signing. And we click transact to see how that would affect the salary cap. And as opposed, see what it did, or you compare this cap hit this year to what it was when you franchise tagged him. Now you have 11 extra $1 million to play with, and seeing how this impacted next year's salary cap, a $20.25 million cap hit will leave you with approximately, $97 million in cap space next year, and that will be with 24 players under contract. But seeing as we're focusing on 2024, I could bring it back to here. And yeah, so that's what it's looking like. So now we have 49 players under contract, $51 million in cap space. And now we can discuss some of the guys who I expect to be back. And if you see Jake Browning, ERFA, I believe this is like a vet minimum. So Jake Browning and Cal Adamitis, they're basically locked to the Bengals. They're like restricted free agents. They're locked to the Bengals. They're not hitting the open market either way, and they're coming back on relatively cheap deals. So if you click this for Cal Adamitis, he's back. Same thing for Jake Browning. Cal Adamitis was cap hit of $985,000. Jake Browning, $915,000. You bring those two guys back, look at the cap, you still get approximately $49.5 million to work with. Tight ends currently, and I guess we can go by position to kind of help streamline this process. But tight ends, the only tight ends that we have signed currently is Cam Sample, or not Cam Sample, rather. Goodness gracious, I know his name. It's on the tip of my tongue. Or is he maybe not signed? I don't think any of the tight ends are signed, actually. Drew Sample. Apologies for that. None of the tight ends are signed, but I like Drew Sample. I mean, for what he does for the team, he's basically the H-back. He can get you some check down yards every now and again. He actually had that nice run against, I can't remember who it was, but it was at Paycor Stadium. Drew Sample out there looking like Dallas Clark or somebody. Take it to the house. But I would extend Drew Sample. I would say 2 years, seeing as he's only 28. I believe his current contract, give me 1 second. His current contract, I believe, had him at a little under 2 million or maybe 3 million. Apologies if you hear any noise in the background. My dog is going crazy. So Drew Sample's contract over 5 seasons with the Bengals, he earned approximately $4.5 million. So I'll bring him back for 2 years. Maybe give him a signing bonus of $80,000 base salary. Seeing as we were just bringing him back for 2 years. $2-year, $2.5 million contract. See if he likes that. Try to bring him back for something cheap. I'm letting Irv Smith walk. Probably letting Tanner Hudson walk. I'll bring back Mitch Wilcox. I think I signed him for 1 year, $60,000 signing bonus. Excuse me. 1 year, $900,000. Or if you want to get it up to $1 million base salary, you can say with the addition of the signing bonus, 940, give him an opportunity to make $1 million this year. I think these are two fair contracts. Drew Sample might command a little bit more, but I think we can get Mitch Wilcox back for that price, maybe a little bit less, honestly. But Tanner Hudson walks. So the tight end room going into the draft will look like Drew Sample and Mitch Wilcox. In the draft, I don't want to get too much into the draft because this video is just about the offseason and free agency primarily. But they likely will draft the tight end. Where, at what point, I don't know. Brock Bowers is not going to be available. Maybe Jatavion Sanders in the second round if I don't want to say if he's the best player available, but if you have an opportunity to get him, I would like him. But that's neither here nor there. Just to get back to the video at hand. Running backs, keeping Joe Mixon. He's in the final year of his contract. You trust him. You got a 1-2 punch with him and Chase Brown. And just to avoid having to either draft a running back or sign somebody else, keep Chris Evans on the roster. I think Trevion Williams, he may be third or fourth back. He kind of cycled between third and fourth back. But he was primarily the second back while Chase Brown was hurt. But you kind of know what you're going to get out of Chris Evans and Trevion Williams. But since Trevion Williams is a free agent before Chris Evans, I'll let him walk. See what we can do with, see what we can get out of Chris Evans again. Because both of these guys have kick return experience. Trevion Williams, I like some of his returns. He was doing a pretty good job this year, but Chris Evans didn't do too much worse of a job. So, I mean, for 1.1 million, basically, you go with Chris Evans, let Trevion Williams walk. Linebacker. Currently, we have Logan Wilson, Jermaine Pratt under contract. Devin Harper, I'm not too familiar with who he is, but I know we have Shaka Hayward. He was a rookie last year. So as of right now, we only have 4 linebackers under contract. And the third linebacker, you got to go back after him, ADG, Akeem Davis-Gaither. You get him back because I believe his first contract was only about $3 million. So to get him back and to make sure that we can retain him, 27 years old, I would sign him. I would look to sign him to maybe 3 years. 3 years, $200,000 signing bonus. We give him a contract with an average annual value of approximately, I would say, maybe 1.5 a year. Maybe that's a little bit too much, maybe 1 million a year. So the base salary for year 1, I would say 1 million. Base salary for year 2, 1.2 million. And most of these contracts are backloaded, meaning that the value of the contract increases per year of the contract, or the average annual value of the contract increases per year. And then year 3, I would say maybe 1.4. So that's about $3 million contract, 3 years, $3 million, 3 years, about $3.5 million. Signed him to the same kind of contract he had again. I believe that's fair. He may command a little bit more, but we'll have to see when the time actually comes. Cody Ford, I'm sorry, we're still on linebackers. Marcus Bailey and Joe Bacci. Seeing as we got those two young linebackers still on the roster, I think I'm only keeping one of these guys. Marcus Bailey gets a little bit more playing time than Joe Bacci. So I'll extend him, give him 2 years. Maybe we'll say 90,000 signing bonus, 2 years, maybe like $3 million, maybe $2 million. If I give him, let's see, nearly $3 million for 2 years. Might be a fair contract, I would say. And as you can see, after we've signed Cal Adamitis, Jake Browning, Drew Sample, Mitch Wilcox, ADG, Marcus Bailey, we still have $48 million cap space to play with. Move on to the offensive line. Well, before we do that, Joe Bacci, unfortunately, he's gone. Quarterbacks, we have Jake Browning, so A.J. McCarron is gone. Joe Bacci's gone. Travion Williams is gone. Tanner Hudson is gone. Irv Smith is gone. Offensive line, Cody Ford, he'll be gone. Max Sharping, if we look at the offensive line right now, he's a guard. If we look at the guards that we have on the team, we have Kappa, we have Volson, we have Jackson Kirkland, and I feel like I'm missing one. Carmen is a tackle, but he can kind of play guard. But I would re-sign Sharping for 1 year. He was signed 1 year last year. I re-signed him for 1 year before the draft, just so we don't have to feel like we have to address that position in the draft. And if we sign somebody, or if we were to draft another guard as a depth piece, then we can, cut ties with Max Sharping. But just to prevent having to draft him or having to draft a guard for depth, I would re-sign him. $900K, $80,000 signing bonus. Maybe that's a little bit too high. Maybe 60,000. So we got our depth guys right there. Tyler Boyd is gone. Jonah Williams is gone. Awuzie is gone. Cody Ford is gone. Josh Tupou, I feel like he's gone, but similar to the guard situation for the team, they may look to retain him just so they can have somebody in the room that's familiar with it. They got some game experience, are familiar with the defense, has some game experience, and they can get him back for relatively cheap. I would re-sign Josh Tupou, even though he's going to age 30, for 1 year. Give him a 1 year contract for $1.5 million. So after this year, he'd be gone. We still got $47 million in cap space. Trenton Irwin. Now, this is one I'm kind of on the fence about. He was the fourth receiver, and seeing in this scenario, we have T. Higgins. So Chase, T, and then if you were to let T.I. walk, it'll likely be Yoshi and then Charlie Jones. And then we got the other receivers. We got Lassiter and Lassiter, Shaka Hayward, Shedrick Jackson. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Shaka Hayward is the linebacker. Shedrick Jackson is the receiver. But T.I. gives you some good production. It's kind of hard, though, because you can have $47 million to go in a few different directions within free agency, signing like the free agents of other teams, finding free agents that's in the market. This is tough. I don't know. Because you're not going to sign him just to cut him. But there are a few receivers in the draft. But given the Bengals, given this scenario, if we signed uh, T. Higgins, they likely won't target a receiver early. But if a receiver is there early and he's the best player available, they got him high on the board, they'll still take him. Especially another young guy coming in, being able to raise the ceiling and the floor of that receiver room and pair him with uh, Chase and T. But given the rapport that T.I. already has with Burrow, given his production over the past couple of years, I could see them resigning him to probably a 1-year deal. I see them giving him maybe $150 signing bonus, 1 year, $2 million deal, because they can afford that. They can afford that. That still leaves you with $46 million, and this is just to retain him. Somebody may offer him more, but just to kind of sweeten the deal for him, $2 million. Actually, this is what I would do. Seeing as they can afford it, I would give him 150 signing bonus, 2 million, and I would say 1.15 million fully guaranteed. That's what I would do to retain T.I. because he can help the team, and like I said, that doesn't prevent them from drafting another receiver that has a little bit more ability than T.I., but it does kind of help keep that wide receiver room intact. You can trust Chase, you can trust T, you can trust T.I., you can trust Yoshi for the most part, and Charlie Jones is going to come on. That's what I feel like. I feel like Charlie Jones is likely the long-term replacement, at least like maybe, and when I say long-term, maybe the next couple of years for Tyler Boyd. But just as of right now, just to keep those trusted guys around Burrow, I would say T.I. Now, what I would do possibly with DJ Reader, I don't think I would resign him. I don't think the Bengals are going to resign him. Now, uh, would they franchise tag him? If you turn him to a franchise tag, that only leaves you with $27 million in cap space to work with. And believe it or not, for the needs that I think the Bengals have and for the players that they're looking to target, this may be enough. So we'll do two scenarios real quick. And since we have DJ Reader franchise tagged, so he come back and he may not be healthy at the beginning of the year, but maybe come back maybe a month into the season fully healthy, fully ready to go. We got him signed. We got approximately $27 million to work with in cap space. The first guy I think the Bengals will sign or at least offer will be Jermaine Illuminor. Now his last contract, I believe it was for it was like 2 years, 11, maybe closer to 12 million. And the Bengals can afford that. I would go the same thing here. He's a proven starter. I would go give him a signing bonus, $1 million signing bonus, base salary for the first year. I would say $5 million for the next year, $6 million. That totals out 2-year, $12 million deal with the Bengals. You got your right tackle. You got $22.59 million still to work with. Outside of Jermaine Illuminor, I think 3 safeties may really be in play for the Bengals. And if they're looking for a rotational piece, somebody who can also play special teams, but is more of a center fielder than the other safeties that we have, and somebody we can probably get for cheap, Ashton Davis from the New York Jets. 27 years old, going in the year 28. I would sign him for almost what would be a similar contract to uh, Nick Scott. But seeing as we have investment with Dax Hill and Jordan Battle, I don't think they're looking for a guy to come in and just replace one of those guys. But I do think they're looking for another safety who's at least a better center fielder than what Dax Hill is, and a better center fielder has more range than what Jordan Battle does. And Ashton Davis kind of gives you that. He had a up year last year, and seeing as well, he was in his contract year, and the years before that, he underperformed. And given that he was a special teamer, I think he missed some games last year as well. I may be incorrect on that, but considering those factors, you can get him for pretty cheap. So I would either say Ashton Davis or Kevon Wallace, who was with Arizona to start the year and then ended up with Tennessee. It's kind of in the same boat. He gives you a little better coverage than Dax Hill and Jordan Battle, at least regarding like a center fielder, true safety position. But he may cost a little bit more than Ashton Davis. And given the need for special teams, and seeing that Ashton Davis is a very good special teamer, I think I go with Ashton Davis. Get him on the team. Get him a $1 million, maybe, yeah, $1 million signing bonus. Sweeten it a little bit for the first year. Oops. Over here typing in equations. Look at that. It's approximately what? Add these two up, that's a little over $5 million. So about a 3-year, $7 million deal. $1 million guaranteed. He'll probably get that at signing with other guarantees and other little details in that. But still, that leaves you with $20 million. And then I think the Bengals will also look at possibly a cornerback. And the cornerback that I have my eye on would be Dane Jackson from the Bills. Starter experience, I believe he started 20 games over the past 2 seasons. And on top of that, he's just a pretty good corner. So I would sign him to a 2-year deal if I could. Sweeten the deal, get him on the team, $2 million. Maybe a 2-year, $8 million deal. Or maybe a 2-year, $10 million deal. The Bengals can afford that. Which this year they can, but we'll see how that plays in next year. But just to get him on the team, I feel like getting him, he's young, he's talented. Getting him on the team will really raise the floor of that corner room. 2-year, two-year, $10 million deal. So how can we? Let me see, $1 million. So if I did that, then I would do 3.5 million and then 4.5 million. There we go. So you look at the roster right now. We bolstered the secondary, Dane Jackson, Ashton Davis. Bolstered the offensive line with Jermaine Illuminor, and this is in free agency. And DJ Reader's on the franchise tag leaves us with $16 million in cap space. Now, this cap space doesn't apply to the rookies that they'll draft. That's like a separate account or a separate fund. But I can see a scenario where this happens. I could see, and it doesn't have to be Dane Jackson, Ashton Davis, or Jermaine Illuminor. It could be Trent Brown, but the Bengals likely will target a starting caliber right tackle in free agency to replace Jonah Williams. But another corner, a veteran corner, I see them going after. Another veteran safety, I see them going after. And as far as guys who I think that they will cut, likely before the draft, maybe after draft, but sometime during the offseason, I can see them getting rid of Nick Scott. Jeffrey Gunter, maybe not. You know, it doesn't save you that much of cutting. but possibly, and if you undid Jeffrey Gunter, then that leaves you, that doesn't really affect the cap space at all. So we can probably keep him under contract. So you got 62 players currently under contract. And I think the Bengals would be in a good position going into the draft if they were to do this. You got your corner room figured out. You still got Mike Hilton and Jalen Davis at your slots, but now you got 4 outside corners with Dane Jackson. You have 4 safeties on your roster with Ashton Davis, and you get a center fielder, a rotational guy, somebody that's not going to take too many snaps from Jordan Battle or from Dax Hill, and the guy that's affordable, and on top of that, is a very good special teamer, and Ashton Davis. Then you get your starting tackle in Jermaine Illuminor and franchise tag DJ Reader. What I think the Bengals, and this is what I think the Bengals should do, and if you see going into next year, that leaves you with $78 million for whoever, and you would have 30 players under contract. So that leaves you in a good position next year to address some of these. And if you account for Chase is going to eat up about 21 million of that. So you bring that number down from 71 to about 57. Still leaves you in a pretty good, well, I can't even say that. Maybe a little strapped for cash, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But this is what I would do. So just a quick recap. Bringing back Jake Browning, Cal Adamitis, they're restricted free agents, so they're not going anywhere. I bring back Drew Sample and Mitch Wilcox. Bring back ADG, Marcus Bailey, Max Sharping, Josh Tupou for a year, Max Sharping for a year, Trent Irwin for a year. Re-sign T. Higgins. His contract is worth $95 million. This year, his cap hit would be 11.25. I would offer the franchise tag to DJ Reader. If he assigned it or not, that's yet to be seen. But in this scenario, he did sign it. Outside or external free agents, rather, Dane Jackson from the Buffalo Bills signed him to a 2-year, $10 million contract. Ashton Davis, it was a 3-year contract worth, I believe, $7 or $8 million. Jermaine Illuminor, a 2-year, $12 million contract. And then that still leaves you with approximately $17 million to play with. And you got to account for a possible cap rollover, because I believe you got to use about 89% of your cap each year. And whatever's left from that 89, whatever that number is, I can actually roll over into the next year. So, you keep that into account, you may be able to add at least $10 million to 2025 total free salary cap. But I believe that covers everything for this video. Apologies if it got a little bit too long-winded. May have rambled here and there, but it's actually my first video. If you enjoyed it, leave a comment, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Come back for more. I'll be uploading regularly, at least once a week. Primarily Bengals content, some basketball content, and some chess content, and other little topics that I may find interesting. But just to get the channel going and grow the channel, it'll primarily be Bengals content and basketball content. So once again, if you like the video, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.